Hi, this is Alex Iglesia, and we are building facilitator capacity from the inside out. I'm here with Mary Flanagan. Mary, bring up the concern and the opportunity.
The opportunity is I'm going to be working with a civic organization that has a long history. This organization now realizes that they are no longer attracting the young, rising leaders as members, and they want to break that cycle. But it seems to me that they are so tied into their old ways, I think it's going to be really difficult. And anything I might be able to do to help them break through that being stuck would be great for them.
Okay, great. All right, so the pattern, the underlying what's happening is that folks are stuck where they're at. And the question is, how do we get them moving again? Mm-hmm. And there's circumstances to that, but that's kind of the core of it. And if we bring in some of the circumstances, there are people who are well invested in time and energy and thought and input and care into their organization. So it kind of makes sense that they've created all these structures around themselves and inside their mind. And whenever we have a tight, strong, well-established structure, that's a lot of dismantling to do. So how can we do that safely? So there's two pieces to start with.
Right.
First is to recognize that they're stuck. So try this with me. Yeah. It's sort of like being surprised in a traumatic way. Right? So what happens in any trauma, small or big, whether I stub my toe or I'm in a car accident, the nervous system goes into, yeah? And that's a pattern. In fact, that doesn't get relieved in some healthy way, or massage. It doesn't get out of my body. It gets ingrained and becomes habitual. So we can recognize with a lot of compassion that they're essentially showing up like this, and from there they don't want to move. Then the energy that's going to invite them to move is a very gentle, think seaweed. It's a very gentle seaweed. So the reason we want to embody this is, what are the ideas that would be easy on them to create some movement in their minds, perhaps in their bodies, in their habits and their patterns? What would kind of unstick them? And it's not going to be, hey, you need to change. And it's not going to be, I've got a strong idea, I've got an important idea that you should buy into. No, that's meeting this with more of that. Right. It's going to cause more trauma, like spanking a kid who's already crying. It's going to cause more trauma. So they're here, and we want to come at them gently. You can imagine seaweed, you can imagine a breeze. There's a lot you can imagine here. And the game is, if you can feel this in your nervous system, in your body, in your mind, you let your eyes relax. Every joint, ultimately, in your body wants to relax. And there's no real wrong way, but here's something really interesting. Turn your hands out, as if you're manipulating, moving the situation. And then turn your hands in, and exhale. And can you notice, what does it feel, what's the difference for you, whether your hand is turned out or turned in? What does that make you think of?
In feels more protective, out feels more new.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So you can bring in, so it's right away, I would start to invite you to think about, what are some ways we could move in a way that you feel protected and they feel protected? So there's a quality of protection that's already arising out of you, because you know the situation way better than anyone else. So your whole mind and body right now are being invited to come up with ideas that are aligned with this particular pattern, which is going to help me. If I'm here, go ahead and do that pattern. We call this an pattern because the energy is more of an like a flow, an ebb, and I'm here stuck. So if you were water, you'd be gently polishing this stone, this rough stone that's in the ocean. If you bring in that quality of protection, you're going to start designing some exercises and some ways of writing and ways of talking that has the sense of movement. You might play some music, you might have some designs that go, green and blue designs that go with this. Then you can sort of transition into a palm out quality, where you said it's something new. So now it's, how do I introduce something new that's almost like painting it on? It's gentle, it's soothing. How can I give them how can I give them an experience that's gentle, soothing? There's some movement, some rocking, some rhythm to it. This is going to loosen up this. So instead of, then they're going to be able to, oh, yes, I understand the situation. Yes, this is how we're operating. They're going to have the ability to self-reflect much more easily after you have an experience that gives them that soothingness than before.
And feel safe.
And feel safe. Beautiful.
Thank you.
You're really welcome.
Thank you very much.
So, if you're listening at home, how you practice this and how you generate ideas, two options. One is you give yourself a timer, 3 minutes minimum, to just dive into the movement and practice both sides. Here's where they are. Here's what I can give. Because those two energies go together. They complement and they help each other. You just go for 3 minutes, you get out of your head a little bit, and you allow the body just to feel good. One of two things will happen. You'll either have an idea, or you won't. If you have an idea, write it down. Play with it. If you don't have an idea, sit in silence for another 3 or 5 minutes. 10 is even better. And I can say that with some confidence, 90% of the time, you will, in that 10 minutes of silence, have an idea you've never thought of before, of something that's just the right thing for them. And if you trust that intuition, it'll usually be the right medicine for them. So, thank you.